The winds of the bitter internecine warfare that blow over the lands to the north are not as violent here along the fertile shores of the Yangtze River. But the winds of change have been felt, and with them, the wise words of Confucius and the way of the Tao have arrived. According to royal geomancers, this location, evidently the site of an ancient temple, would be a most excellent place to establish a new city. If a Confucian academy is constructed and shrines built for the followers of the Tao, your city's upper class will no doubt take residence in rather impressive compounds. Ensure that your humble citizens give proper respect to Confucius and to our ancestor heroes, for then it is very likely that they will be justly rewarded.
The fifth scenario of the Zhou Dynasty moves forward more than a couple centuries to near the end of the spring and autumn period. And it looks like we're going to be having a little bit more isolated approach, not as much emphasis on trade or combat with other cities. We need 2 years of heroes and 100 people in the impressive compound or better. As referenced in here, we're also going to be dealing with new religious structures. Almost certainly, though, even using the term religion is a bit wrong-headed. Looking specifically at Confucianism and Taoism, there's a lot of debate about whether they're philosophies or religions, but that debate is largely misplaced. Specifically within Taoism, they don't even really make a distinction between the two much as we would in Western ways of thinking. We might approach the idea of philosophy versus religion as something where religion is based on faith and philosophy is based on human reason, but that's not really a relevant distinction here. And it's a concept that's very much attractive to me personally. Just the idea that the search for truth is the search for truth. It doesn't need to be divided or compartmentalized. We would also be very remiss not to mention Buddhism as a third tradition very influential in this part of the world at this time. But Buddhism, of course, originates in India, whereas Confucianism and Taoism, our focus here, originate in China. It's a very curious fact of history that Buddha and Confucius could have died within a couple years of each other, or if Buddha lived perhaps with some of the later estimates, still would have been within less than a century. And at the latest, within the next century after that, the roots of Taoism begin to appear. So it seems that in general, in the part of the world that we might call the Far East, societies had developed to the point where they were ready for these great traditions to emerge for whatever reason. With regard to Confucius himself, we do not have any contemporary art, sculptures, recordings of what he wrote or said, but quite a lot of that springs up after his death. I don't think there's really any question about the fact that he is the most famous philosopher of ancient China. Mencius, a follower of Confucius' teachings that comes along a couple centuries later, is often referred to as the second sage, that is, second only to Confucius himself. What we know of what Confucius taught is recorded in the Analects, formed by his disciples some time after his death, so there's definitely some question whether specific parts of it should really be attributed to him or have too much weight put on them, but we can definitely form some general assessments of what he taught from that. It is interesting, given his prominence and reputation, that Confucius did not think of himself as an original thinker or philosopher. He regarded himself as someone who invented nothing, but was simply bringing back to prominence old knowledge, old thought that had been lost and was not emphasized as much as it should be in his day. In the political realm, Confucius had a very idealistic outlook, believing that government should rule by example, by demonstration of virtue, rather than using coercive power to maintain order. When it comes to individual behavior, there's a lot of emphasis in the concept of li, which is doing the proper thing at the proper time. Understanding what that is focused on realization of your proper role in society, proper role in relationships, such as within a family, studying the recorded wisdom of ancient sages to really get a sense of nuanced situational judgment rather than following a specific set of rules. Confucius continues to be a highly venerated figure in China to this day. There are many temples which honor his legacy. There's a much higher degree of uncertainty surrounding the origins of Taoism. The key foundational text for Taoism is the Tao Te Ching, which was written somewhere around 400 BC. Tradition associates this with the figure LaoTsu, who has been thought to be somebody who lived near that time of writing or earlier as perhaps a contemporary of Confucius. There are a number of historians who don't think LaoTsu was an actual historical figure, though, and that Tao Te Ching was compiled from the writings of many people. One theory behind LaoTsu being a real person, but someone we still don't know very much about compared to Confucius, is that he was simply a very nomadic, reclusive individual, which is a stark contrast to what we know of Confucius's life. The Tao Te Ching itself was written as a guide for leaders, and so that's led to continuing debates on how it applies to the life of the common man. The vision of the righteous ruler that is described is basically anarchical, or at least nearly so. Such as in this representative quote, "Therefore the sage rules by emptying their hearts and filling their bellies, weakening their wills and strengthening their bones, ever striving to make the people knowledgeless and desireless." The term Tao itself is often translated as the path or the way. The Tao Te Ching describes it as eternally nameless. It seems that there's a sense of it being the natural order, the flow of the universe. Not something you can fully define as a concept, but which has to be experienced through the process of life. One of the most prominent symbols of Chinese thought, of course, is the yin and yang, or more properly, the two aspects of Tai Chi. The idea of the two opposing forces, yin and yang, making up reality, is often used in management or psychological strategies in the sense of not overly reacting to positive or negative events. But they're probably best viewed as complementary, not opposing forces. You can think of the contrast in terms of shadow and light, order and disorder. But the idea is that one creates the other. In terms of Taoist application to morals and ethics, there is a famous and short parable that I think is worth looking at, which is known by many names, but the original name, dating to the 2nd century BCE, is "The Old Man Lost Its Horse." Best translation I'm aware of goes like this. Good luck and bad luck create each other, and it is difficult to foresee their change. A righteous man lived near the border. For no reason, his horse ran off into barbarian territory. Everyone felt sorry for him. His father spoke, "Who knows if that won't bring you good luck?" Several months later, his horse came back with a group of barbarian horses. Everyone congratulated him. His father spoke, "Who knows if that won't bring you bad luck?" A rich house has good horses, and the son mounted with joy, loved riding. He fell and broke his leg. Everyone felt sorry for him. His father spoke, "Who knows if that won't bring you good luck?" 1 year later, the barbarians invaded across the border. Adult men strung up their bows and went into battle. 9 out of 10 border residents were killed, except for the son because of his broken leg. Father and son were protected, both survived. Hence, bad luck brings good luck, and good luck brings bad luck. This happens without end, and nobody can estimate it. The point of the parable, of course, is not in what happens to the son, but in the contrasting reactions from his father and then the neighbors around them. Everyone else is quick to jump on labeling the events as good or bad, but his father exemplifies the Tao. He knows the limits on his perceptions and the interplay of different aspects of reality, and no matter the apparent impact in the moment of an event, he's not jumping on the bandwagon to label it as positive or negative. What's being exemplified isn't apathy, although it can easily be confused for that, but it is Wu Wei. It's been translated sometimes as inaction, but it seems that it would be more accurate to describe it as effortless action, intuitively being in harmony with the natural state of the universe. We start this adventure staring at the site of the ancient temple, which is clearly what this is, although I do not know exactly which temple that's supposed to be. In any case, we've got a little over 10,000 in cash. There's a stream running through the middle, and some ways to get up this embankment. And then over here, quite a bit more open. Some good farmland over there. We're not going to be able to get across the river very effectively. We can't really build on these broken up areas. Some wild pigs down there, but that's about it. And the only place we can effectively really build to do anything near the river without taking down trees is right over here. So, not no river access and functionality like the last scenario, but not a lot. Then we have rice and cabbage to farm in this one. We've got silk, potentially, and both fishing and hunting. That is quite rare to have both of those available. No bronze. And then we've got kilns and bronzeware, weavers and jade. Logging, and then, of course, our clay. And we are back to having things like acrobatics and all of our government structures, as you would expect, the full suite of military. So it appears that we've gone back to civilization, as it were. Looking at the Empire, we're in Ying here, and we can interact with everybody. Notice that Hao is no longer even on the map. But we can't interact with the nomad camps at all. It's not just that we're distant from that warfare, as they mentioned in the briefing, but we can't even do anything there. And on the religion front, that has changed as well. We now have Confucius here, which is kind of confusing to me. If you notice our date at 488, we are venerating with homage offerings Confucius, who is actually still alive. He's got several years left, according to the timeline. Huangdi is gone. Shen Nong and Nu Hua are still available. But if we look at Confucius, and just drop down to wherever he's at, there we are. We have all of this wonderful description, and notice it's saying that he is going to live for another 9 years. But a pretty good description there of his life, if you're interested in that. And then we have a lot of different things that Confucius can do. Halves the building cost of several different options. He's a scholar, a diviner, gives us access to ancestor worship, tax official, musician, but he can bless the tax office, and he gives us increased tax revenue. So that's going to be quite useful, I think, particularly in this mission. And he can satisfy provisions when building some more advanced monuments that we'll get to at another time. So with the 2 years of heroes that we're going to need, I think we're definitely going to want to make use of Confucius here in Ying. Our first year at Ying was really quite uneventful, so we're just skipping over that. This is exactly the start of our second year, 487 BCE, and we have a moderate-sized single housing loop this time. So a somewhat smaller city, but I think it should be a fairly well-balanced one. Cabbage and rice over here, hemp here. We really went high on the wage rate for the first year to make sure we could get built up quickly, including getting our hemp done right away. Silk is going to be starting up here soon. Of course, all of our market area. And then this warehouse is going to be quite busy. It's going to be actually the only warehouse I use. Lots of items coming and going, but right now it only has hemp in it. And then down this way, we've got our hunters' tents, which seem to be pretty well balanced between going up here to do their hunting, and then the carts delivering, and then coming back. Our river access area, we have a couple of fishing keys. Haven't seen them in a while, but they are working quite effectively. And we've got the long journey for everybody streaming into the city. It does take a while for them to get here, since we're on the other side of the map. We're now building up, and I think we're going to make use of these people to log and go into some governmental activities. And then let's get an herbalist stall. Seems to be moving along to a good time for that. On the trade front, they seem to want us to focus on jade in this mission. Buying it from Khufu, selling the carved to Anyang. And those were our first 2 starting trade agreements. But I actually don't want to do that. I do want bronze, so that we can build up some type of military. Maybe we'll be totally safe, maybe we won't. Shu down here is hostile. So I want to at least have the military capability if they decide to have any bad ideas. And Yulin is the only one selling bronze that I've been able to find. So I want to import from them, and they want silk. Plus, Pingyang is also willing to buy our silk, and they were a no-hassle, no-haggle trade agreement. So I think I'd rather just sell silk, since we can produce that here instead of importing jade and then selling it. Let's just keep the profit to ourselves, other than the wages to produce the silk, of course. Might not be that big of a difference, but that's the way that we're going to roll with it. Which means Yulin is our top priority. We need to get them in as a trade agreement sooner rather than later. And they're chopping away on the wood, starting to build up that supply. Almost ready for our government here. Let's grab our administrative city. Okay. I'm going to plop that right down here. Get an inspector over here by these rocks. And then block it off this way. So you can just run this whole length right alongside our housing. I think music would be a good idea next to boost up to our next tier. And not a lot of great things happening over here. So we're going to put it on the other side of our government area. And then we definitely need some weavers to handle all this silk. That should be good for now. Plenty of food in here, and yeah, let's boost up that to always being appetizing. Notice our herald's trying to go out this direction, so we have this gate back here to block them off. Even when I had one right in front here, they would like to walk out this side of the market, so that's why that gate, it looked out of place, but it's serving the function. And some of the walkers, when they go this way and then come back, they don't get to the whole loop, so we have to kind of get lucky every once in a while, but it's still good enough that it functions. And another wave of people will then be arriving. Yep, you stopped. One of you stopped. The other one kept going this way. Okay. Says you've got to walk back. Looks like you're probably going to actually cover everything this time. And in they stroll from the far end of the map. I think I would like a second food shop at this stage. We're definitely doing perfectly fine on the meat. I've heard some people say that hunting is inconsistent. I don't find that to be the case. How are we doing on our silk? We got one. I think we just got a second one that came out, so we're not quite there yet. Oh, what I do want to do is be building up for my ceramics. So we need clay. And over here is yuck at best. We could put it all the way down on this end. I'm not going to bother with that. What I am going to do is just throw it in here. And then let's get some kilns rolling. And that's what I think I'm going to use for my first homage offerings. Once we get some in position, and of course it'll need to be distributed to our houses. Speaking of which, we should have a ceramics shop. Good supply of hemp over here, good supply of wood. And actually too good a supply of wood because I forgot to put up my tax office. How are we doing on that silk? We got 3, and here comes the 4th one. So you, Lin, we want your bronze. We're giving you this silk to try to arrange that situation. And you know what? This is probably as good a time as any. We'll celebrate. Still over 2,000 cash. Good variety of food. And population over 1,000. Ceramics, I think, is our next step here. While we're waiting for that, let's... Acupuncturist? Let's just max out this so it can keep scaling up. The acrobatics is not easy to find a location for on this map. I tried, you know, it's just, they don't like any of this stuff over here. So I'm going to cram it in here and just have this go around. And it should work in terms of them being able to walk around here. It's not the most smooth setup, but it's functional. I did also think about, I eventually probably want to go to grand ways all the way around in my housing loop, but I couldn't find room for it over here, being up against all of this, so I decided not to bother with that in this particular scenario, but that's something I'll probably be looking to do in the future. Just to make sure it really helps the desirability. I don't have to fiddle around with statues and trying to get the maximum out of my corners or whatever. And I think it's probably time to get another weaver. Definitely need to let Yulin know that we want their trade. We aren't just giving them that silk for nothing. And yeah, could have done it a bit sooner, but we'll see what they have to say, and hopefully they'll still be happy with us. I'm going to plop you right over here. This is where I'm going to have my trade situation at. Let's extend our inspections, of course. And these over here will be a long way from where the silk is produced. But on the other hand, these are much closer. They're actually going to take a little bit longer to deliver silk to the trade stations and come back than these take to produce. So there'll be little bits of inactivity, but not for very long. So I'm sort of having some on each end. It would be nice if I could fit them all somewhere in the middle, but that didn't really work out, at least in the way that I'm going about it. And we're boosting up here again, starting to get those ceramics in place. Here comes some more peddlers to deliver more. Yep, they just keep running out of ceramics. They're just gobbling them all up. So we're still okay here, but before long we need to put some offerings out there. And these like to walk all the way around to the far side to deliver. I wish they would just deliver here, but they don't want to do that. Ceramics, still some. Real good supply of food. Hemp is holding solid. I don't see any issue. Just waiting to see what Yulin has to say. We got lots of people. But we're waiting on their response to take this to the next level. And they're actually bringing some of this silk down to this end now, showing that we do need this third weaver. Trade with Yulin is active. Excellent. So I'm going to place this right here. And we are going to bring in bronze and sell silk for now. And then we'll need a weaponsmith to use the bronze. We'll need more than that later, but we're going to start with that. And a fort. We'll start with a crossbowman. See what that does to our labor situation. Okay, we're good. Now I'm going to wait for you to get started before I go further. We're eventually going to want the bronze as well for producing bronzeware. We could just import the bronzeware directly, but I don't want to do that. Looks like we're close to having all of our housing max out here. And yes, the ancestors are displeased, they're telling us. So we're going to want to go with New Wa in this particular case. And I'm going to let you have some of my silk just to make sure this doesn't get too bad. There we go. Not a lot, just a few. That'll delay us getting some sold here. Here we go. Bringing in our bronze. And we're down under 1,000 now. So I've got to be careful with cash. This is one of those, okay, just sell what we need. I am going to do one additional bit, though, and that's add Pingyang to our adventure here. So where can we put you? I don't have any reason to think I've got a better place than perhaps that. Where would I want to put another weaver if I got one? Would it matter? The weavers don't like this area over here, but they'd be fine up there. Okay, so then I'll put this trading station on this side. If we get enough silk, we can sell that to you as well. And we're going to stick with that for now, until we get some more cash in. A neighbor needs our help. Loyi is having a famine. Now, cash has been going pretty well. We've made some profit. We've also improved our stockpile of bronze. And we did add one weaponsmith. That's all I've added so far. You can see our soldiers building up here. But we don't have quite enough rice. We have a pretty decent amount. But not enough to give them a dozen. So they may have to wait a little bit longer than they want. Because our harvest here, we've just started the rice season. And I think it's October? Yep. Gonna have to wait for that. On the other hand, there's our cash back up, and this is full. So our gradual progression on silk is giving us a steady increase. I actually moved our taxes and our wage rate down to low. We still have tons of unemployment. So I think it's time to address that with a second government structure. Let's get our palace. Probably somewhere over here. Sure, that'll work. And where should we put our inspector? You can come here, and you'll just do a direct connection. One of the dumbest inspectors regimes ever, but that'll work. And we can actually capture wild pigs. Oh, I think I'm gonna need you to. Oh, you're connected to labor. You're good. Okay. Thought maybe I'd need to connect it to here, but I don't. It'd be nice to capture the wild pigs. That's what I would like to use New Wa for. It's one of our heroes. Let's see how close we are to... Yeah, we have enough ceramics now, I think, to throw some more at them. And that's not enough yet. We'll still need more. But we're progressing. My goal is to use New Wa, have her go hunting, capture a wild pig so we can have that in our menagerie, and then switch over to Confucius for the tax income. And I don't just want the wild pig for its own sake. There is somebody, one of our neighbors, who later is likely to demand that from us. If that wasn't the case, I'd just go straight for Confucius and the tax income and speed things up, but let's do everything we can to make people happy. So we are down to what on rice? We still have 8, plus they're throwing that stuff back there. Yeah, we've got all of this coming in. So we should be very close. Once they unload all of these. we have enough storage, 8 in each spot, that we can get to that 12. There we go. And I don't think it's going to get there in time to completely keep them from complaining, but it should get there in time to not be too big of a problem either. And out of cabbage here, and no fish. But, yeah, pretty good storage of food. Presumably, I mean, we're going to have fish coming in. They can gradually get bits of that. And the cabbage season? Well, it looks like they're just harvesting it now. Yep. So let's get a second fort up. I'll go with the chariots. Right along there. And you're working. I feel like we are pretty close to where we want to be. We have some cash. We don't have a huge amount. Ah, we did get it there in time. Always nice to be called an obedient dog, isn't it? But I think it is time to work on what I would like to do over here. Which is, this is going to be our final segment, our elite housing. So, I'm just going to drag this along. And let's say it goes right along this way. Now, the impressive compounds that we need, they want 100 people, which would mean we need 5 of them. I'm going to go with 6. Just to make it an even thing. It's going to be our largest elite housing area that we've done yet. Okay, and let's do some gardens. Something like that. And that should be out far enough. Now, notice this is going to get really close here, but it should be enough room. Let's just go ahead and let things continue here. And I don't want to go any further than that yet. I think I'm going to be just building this out bit by bit due to cash reasons. Another new year has arrived. I do not. We're using up the bronze pretty effectively, I think, at this stage. Yep, only 2 ceramics. So we are producing more ceramics than we need, but not a huge amount. And so we could just decide, look, we'll just give silk away for getting our heroes in, but then that would lower our profits. We're going to need new workers in eventually. So I think I'm just going to stick with this as it is, because we're going to need to produce bronzeware. There's going to be new structures that we need. Could have built a little bit bigger to go with a little more profit, but that would have been more money out up front. I'm not sure if that would have been better. In any case, I'm going to stick with the flow here. To 4 ceramics. And we're making enough, so we bought the bronze and didn't dip down too much. Just not enough cash to really run away and say, okay, I'm going to invest in a whole bunch of this now. 5 years in now, 483 BCE, and it's time to make a couple changes. We're close to finishing up our military, so I'm going to knock off one of you to stop making weapons. And then any extra weapons or wood we have, we're going to sell, because we should be pretty much at the point where we can afford to get away with that. Might make a little bit more profit there. Our elite area is coming on strong. We have almost 2,000. We're going to need it all, because these are 225 a crack. And we don't have enough ceramics, so we can't even do them all. We'll just get started there. Of course, that also means no more homage offerings for the moment. So yes, we will get back to the heroes for now. We actually had... Where's she at now? We had Nuwa up to Joyful. Still is. So we're not too far from getting them in. Then we need to work on getting our market set up and everything. And I'm going to put the connections something like over here. Let's make sure, first of all, before we do anything else, that we get... Maybe we'll put it over here. Yeah, looks like you're happy with that. Inspector's Tower right there, so that we're getting everything inspected. And then, if we... I want to bring this in, if this works. Right in here. Grand Market Square. Looks like you're happy with that. No reason for anybody to come out this way. And then we can have a couple connections over here. I'll just run this. This way. And one over here also. Well, no, let's not do that. Let's just make it right there. Okay. I don't see any reason for you to need to come through there. But let's have... Because the ones that are coming from the market, they've got to be able to go to and from. So we will do one of these. Open to market employees. I don't think there's going to be any inspectors coming along here. And then I'm also going to want to put one on this end. And have another inspector somewhere over in this area. Let's see, are you going to... Yeah, that'll be fine. And then you can just run along here. Switch that out. And you can be inspector only. Okay. That should work. Let's put up a stupid amount of shops. Of course, this is going to impact our profitability for a while, because we've got to stock up everything. I think our food supply is pretty well recovered from that Lo Yi famine, so we should be able to bring more of everything there. And let's see, is this actually going to be able to buy from the mill, of course, is the other question. Yes, it is. It's probably just close enough. Otherwise, we'd have to place another mill and figure out all sorts of other things. You're going to buy up the hemp, you're going to buy up some of my silk. All of that is going to happen. We've got some weapons being sold here. So as we get the ceramics, it's going to take some time. We'll want to add some more elite housing. And we'll also want to make sure we're satisfying everybody's needs over here. Ancestral Shrine. That can go around here. We're going to need an herbalist. We'll need more than this, but we're just getting started. Let's go ahead and boost everything back up here. Tax rate, wage rate. And I will want to get... Yeah, we've got plenty of people to do it. Let's get a tax office out here. Somewhere. That'll work. Because all of you are going to be very lucrative for us. Now I'm going to want to get some bronzeware, and I can boost up my ceramic situation at the same time. Is there somewhere out here? This will work. Let's move that down a bit further. Bronzeware. One of those should be sufficient. And then another kiln is the point. If we can... You're not really wanted around here. Where else are we going to haul off the clay to is the question. I mean, maybe somewhere along this? Yeah. We can... Okay. We'll just have you come into this area. That's not too far away for you to walk over and deliver. And then those ceramics, I mean, they're going to get hauled over here to this warehouse and then back over here. That's a little weird. But it should be functional. And... I'm wondering how you got all the way... Oh, because, yeah, this is open to... I don't think I should actually have this. I think that this should be closed to market employees. They should come through here and just come into this area. I think that's the way I wanted that. That actually should have probably been just a regular roadblock, so... Probably got that one backwards. And I'm not sure that there's anything else I need to do quite yet other than just get the ceramics built up. We've got some there, so let's see if we can throw some more of you in. There's a couple more. How are we doing over this way on our shops? Okay, you're currently at Tasty. We'll want to stay there. You don't have any bronzeware. But I think you have everything else in reasonably good supply. So what are you complaining about? Acupuncturist. Acupuncturist it is. You're gonna need services everywhere. There we go. Lo Yi wants a wild pig, so we've taken too long to get Nu Wa in. We're going to... Okay, we're just going to speed this up then. By giving her some silk. And hopefully that'll be enough to bring her around. We're also going to stop. Yeah, we're at a good place on our meat. Because what will happen is they'll hunt all the wild pigs and she won't be able to do anything. Let's not have that. And hopefully she'll show up soon. We can hunt that real quick and give it off to... our wonderful friends in Lo Yi. Would have preferred not to give away silk, but that's just sort of how it worked out here. Still plenty of cash. Going to be getting more in. Yeah, our acupuncturist is coming around the other way. Okay, go to site of event. How you doing, Nu Wa? I've got a task for you. Capture animal. And there are some over there. You know what? I told you to stop hunting. Did you not listen to me? Why don't you all just go back and leave the animals alone so that Nuwa can do what she's doing? I know you're not going to do that until you're done with your current hunting trip, but we're kind of on the clock here. Yep. Reissue the order. Looking okay here. See if she's able to grab one of these. Alright. Looks like that might be working for us then. And another new year has arrived. 482. We do not have high taxes. We have normal taxes. And we have plenty of people anyway. So, we don't have anybody in impressive compounds yet. We've got a couple months of heroes. We're starting to work on that project. Okay. We have a wild pig. Lo Yi, why don't you take your stupid wild pig? Still have 3 months left. That's plenty of time. Now I want to get Confucius, who still has a few years left, but we're going to give him his offerings in any case. As soon as we don't need the money for other things. Let's see if we're okay to put up our last elite housing here. It appears that we are. You are at a humble compound and you need better food. Yep. They are down to appetizing food, even though I told them to go up to tasty. They must have been shopping for that before I gave that instruction. Okay. We are also eventually going to need our new religious buildings. And by the way, these wouldn't do any good to put in our common housing area, because they would also need tea to max out to the very highest level, which, guess what? Tea is not available yet in the game. But we have a Confucian Academy, which requires wood. And I'm just going to place you along here. No examinations can be given while it has no wood. And since we're down to like 700 cash, we're just going to wait a little bit longer for the other one, which is going to be our Taoist shrine here. Oh, we just sold a bunch of stuff. Okay. Anywhere you feel like going? Sure. Very nice. So we've got a walker here.
The energy flow along the city's meridians is exquisite.
Okay, that's... Yeah, there's no wood here. That's the acupuncturist. What about you?
The sage seeks freedom from desire, not grasping at ideas. He brings men back when they are lost and helps them find the Tao.
Yep. Very in keeping with what we were talking about before. So, nice little shrine here, I think.
Don't worry, I'm very skilled.
And I think it's also sort of appropriate. They label this one a shrine and this one an academy. And sort of, again, straddling that balance between philosophy and religion. But now this is in place, so we should have a walker coming out here, unless we already have him. Nope, that's the Taoist one again.
Not grasping at ideas, brings men back when they are lost and helps them find the Tao.
The energy flow
Yep,
along
that's our
the city's
acupuncturist.
meridians is exquisite.
Confucius says, he who keeps the old akindle and adds new knowledge is fit to be a teacher.
The The people are failing to study Master Confucius's teachings. Their virtue and filial piety are far from perfect.
Okay, so I missed them, but that's our walker for the Confucian Academy. Now we're at about 1900, and we've got pretty much everything set up we want. I'm going to really start throwing the silk at Confucius. There we go. You're up to Exalted. One more should bring you in. Nuwa is still around. We have 16 more months. We need to focus on getting these up to impressive compounds, which appears to be a food issue. Yeah, we're definitely having a food issue. There's no question about that. We've just got a little bit of rice in here. And that's partly because I forgot to turn these back on. So go hunt more. Bring the game meat. That's going to solve part of that problem. You still have food there. This has to be delivered. Then we just need to get another harvest in here. And I think everything is going to be just fine. Yeah, you still have quite a bit of food. We didn't come close to running out. We just need the right kinds in. And our elite housing here to go up to the next level beyond impressive once we get to those is also going to need tea, and they also need drama, which is another service we don't have. So there are more things yet coming in later scenarios, but this is still going to be a significant step up for us, as we have not been able to go to impressive compounds prior to this because you need the Confucian and Taoist bits. Oh, we're now worthy of a Confucian hero. I didn't think we would be there yet. I was waiting for Nuwa to leave, apparently. Got some bronzeware here. All of you are totally up. You are working. We're actually a bit low on labor. Fine. Let's just go ahead and boost that wage rate up. We have the funding for it. Our fishing is continuing, but we'll need that to catch up a bit. And actually, since this is pretty consistently behind, I wonder if I can cram another one. I might not be able to fit it. But I wouldn't mind. Nope. Not going to work. Can't fit it in. Okay. We'll stick with the two. You'll still get caught up. We have to distribute all the food once we gather it and all of that. And Confucius has arrived. You have shown great respect for my teachings. I will aid in improving your city. And there is the man himself. We're just going to let him do whatever. He's going to make sure we have plenty of money. We could have him do other things. I don't think it's really necessary. I don't think we need him to bless anything at this particular point. We just need the food supply to get back to where it needs to be. And here comes the cabbage, which I think is going to take care of that for us. Yep. A couple loads of fish coming in, some of them being taken. In with the cabbage. Yep, you don't have a lot of food here. You're going to be buying it up, but we will get it caught up. We need to make sure Confucius stays happy. Let's throw some more. Well, no, he's already exalted. We don't need to do any of that yet. Just going to speed this up now, so that we can finish things up pretty quickly. And we're sitting at 12 months now. You still have more cabbage to bring. Dispatch your silk. Fine. Yulin, have some silk. And Confucius is down to joyful. We can't be having that, can we? Stay up there at Exalted. You're gradually using your food, but not very fast. I think we're going to replace one of those food shops once all of this stabilizes and we have a good supply of everything. Yeah, your food is now... You're probably not going to be buying nearly as much. So then we just need to get some fish stocked up. Yulin is quite happy with us. Now our fish is coming, so I think I am going to just eliminate one of the food shops and rebuild it. We have a drought. That's unfortunate. Confucius down to joyful again. Have some silk this time. We could do other things, but we'll give you silk. Still not quite where we need to be on the food. Probably have to wait for this year's harvest to come in. Put us over the hump there. We still need a few more months of Confucius hanging around in our city anyway.
Confucius says, he who keeps the old...
There is a little bit of fish there. So we just need the farmed crops to start showing up. And we'll bring in a bit more fish there also. Okay, you don't have that much food left, so you're going to be definitely looking to get more before too long. Here comes the rice. It's part one.
Confucius says, he who keeps the old akindled and adds new knowledge is fit to be a teacher.
And cabbage is coming in now. I'm just going to tell you to stop buying for the time being so that my elite housing can get what it needs. Want them to be able to buy this next round of fish when it comes in. And then we'll balance out everything after that. Nope. And where are we at here? Yeah, not a whole lot left. But I think we're coming over here to buy. There we go. Dang, you're out of food that fast? Hungry people. In any case, we're returning back here to our... Yeah, Confucius? Let's see, where are you at? You've been here more than long enough, but let's go ahead and... Looks like we're getting everybody up to impressive right away. You're humble. You're impressive. Yep, needs drama access. Sorry about that. Not going to happen. And it looks like you might be a little bit unhappy because of this over here. So we're going to see about that. This may not even be necessary. But we'll just go ahead and throw some walls over there. Looks like you're pretty happy with that decision. And Confucius, let's throw some more ceramics your way. Only up to please, but you're still hanging around. And we have how many people? 95. Well, move in already. So that we can get done with this scenario.
Noble Administrator, the insightful guidance you have provided to your citizens and your city has been excellent. Under your tutelage, the city of Ying has grown strong and prosperous. The teachings of Confucius and the way of the Tao are spreading throughout the land.
Excellent. So a very momentous scenario here. We've diving into great ancient Chinese traditions, religions, philosophies, whatever you may refer to them as, and also the impressive compounds with our elite housing. And we're nearing the end of the Zhou Dynasty, but still a couple more scenarios to go. Emperor Rise of the Middle Kingdom will continue.